Al, it has been a long time since we've talked about anime on this here podcast, I think. I don't know. Probably
It's been a
feels
hot
like it
second.
has. A few hot seconds.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about some anime we could have talked about on another podcast, but then we're just not going to talk about it on another podcast. I might just throw it up there on the other podcast feed at some point this week
Nice.
or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out and see how it all goes, but for now, we're just going to talk about it here.
Mm-hmm.
On this week's episode of the seasonal anime checkup OVA, it's a podcast where we have conversations about video games, anime, and manga. Hello, I'm Jared, joined as always by Doc Al and Ladium.
Hello.
This is episode 343. We're talking about a theatrical release OVA that came out last month in Japan.
It's still wild to me that it's like a 30-minute OVA and was released in theaters.
Yeah. It's interesting.
It is interesting. Yeah, there was a lot of advertising, so I guess it makes sense.
There was. It was very funny.
So much product placement.
Oh, man. Yeah, we were talking about Love Live Nijigasaki High School Idol Club Next Sky. This is the sequel, or I guess the continuation from Season 2 of Love Live Nijigasaki High School Idol Club. If you want to hear us talk about the first two seasons of this series, you can listen to that on our other podcast, Jared and I Watch, where we break down every single episode of that and talk about it and riff-raff and do all that fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this, like I said, came out the end of June and essentially is the continuation of the second season because I believe Season 2 ends with IMU getting a letter from a gal in London being like, hey, I want to be a school idol. And then she's like, all right, I'm going to London. See you later, everyone.
Bye.
It's nice seeing you. I'm out of here.
Gotta go.
And yeah, this is essentially where IMU is coming back from London, and we'll see all the shenanigans the gals get up to. Before that, they kick off this OVA episode with a performance from Rebirth.
Mm-hmm.
They're performing the new song "Feel Alive," where
It's really good.
it plays over a bunch of like montage scenes of like the surrounding areas where Nijigasaki is from and everything. So kind of like, you know, here's all these places and everything, and here's the Diver City building where it just says Sega and Legoland on it. You're like, oh, hey, look at that.
Yep.
And then it cuts to them performing like a park or something like that.
Yeah,
And
it's some stage area.
we see Mia and Lanju go through like their call and response kind of deals, but they're like very energetic about it and everything. Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then it cuts to Shiriko and she's like, greetings and salutations. Hello, I am Shiriko. Thank you for having me. And everyone's just like, yay!
Yay!
Shiriko's just like, okay, anyways.
Yeah, because everybody stops for like 5 seconds and then they cheer. And she's like, oh, that was weird, but okay, I guess.
Anyways, then we cut to the airport where everyone's gathered to welcome back IMU. They're just hanging out waiting for her to get off the plane and everything.
We're going to break some laws in the
We're
airport.
going to break the law, apparently. Shiriko's going over the performance and everything. I forget who talks to her about it. Someone talks to her about it. Like maybe Rina or something is like just chatting to her about it. And Shiriko's kind of just like, yeah, you know, the crowd was real weird for the call and response part. And I don't know how to feel about that. It was interesting. So they had that little conversation, and then I think you gets a text from Mayumi. He's like, hey, she's going to be the first one off the plane because she just got up and decided, hey, as soon as the plane landed, I'm getting my stuff and running to the front.
Yep.
Or she was on first class or something. I don't know.
I don't know, but I mean, like, speedy.
They have this huge, giant popper mechanical doohickey thing where it's just going to blast a bunch of confetti at someone the first person who walks out of the terminal.
Yep.
And they do
Which
that.
Is definitely allowed at an airport, I'm sure.
Boom! They do that. They cover this poor girl in confetti and everything. And Naomi pops out the side like, oh, hello.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going? They go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, isn't this? I think we brought this up. Is this Coco's first like actual outing
Yes.
at Setsuna
Yes.
besides like the game.
Her first big instance of her being or voicing Setsuna. That is correct.
She did a really good job.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's definitely like some consistency there on like how Setsuna feels, but like it also feels like it's kind of her own.
Yeah, I think
Um,
if you didn't know, it would be
yeah,
hard to tell that there was like a new voice actress in that role.
I think so. It was really good.
Mm-hmm.
I
So
had to mention that.
no, you're fine. You're fine. Um, so they apologize to this gal who's got blasted with confetti and everything. And then Ayumi's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, this is the gal I was telling you about. This is Isla. She's coming from London. She wants to see the school idol experience and everything." Which is this is basically kind of how they had marketed this OVA as is like, here's this girl coming over from London. She's going to get the whole experience and everything, and that's kind of what this episode is about. But it weirdly kind of doesn't turn out to be that way.
It ends up being more of a Shiriko focused episode.
Yeah, which I thought was very surprising.
Yeah,
I really wasn't expecting that because I thought they'd go more into this side of it than what they end up doing.
I thought so too, which I mean I'm glad because like the Rebirth girls kind of got the short end of the stick of like
Mm-hmm.
characterization and songs and stuff in season 2, but just because they ran out of time.
Yeah,
So, good that we're getting some character content here.
yeah, of course. Uh, they take Isla to the high school, Nijigasaki High School, of course. Um, go in the club room. They have tea and everything, just hang out, chit chat, and then they basically split up and take her sightseeing around the city, where we get a bunch of like, here are these real places in this very specific part of Tokyo.
Mm-hmm.
Here's all this branded stuff we have for this episode.
Also, here's a Love Live pilgrimage, basically.
Yeah, kind of. Because like the first group takes her around and like, here's UTX, which obviously UTX famous in Love Live and Love Live Sunshine, as you know, in Love Live it was the place where whatchamacallit, the Arise was from, the rival group
Mm.
in Love Live. In Sunshine it's used as a place where like Chica and the others kind of go to and like see Love Live on the video screen outside of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very important place, and it's interesting because like Nijigasaki in particular really hasn't gone into like showing these places and connecting it really to the main Love Live series in particular. Like they had
Right.
that one episode where they go to like the Love Live museum kind of place,
Right.
but really they didn't like super tie it into like, oh, here's
Here's
Muse
things
or
that are
Aqua.
known from,
Mhm.
yeah.
So I thought it was interesting
Like
that they kind of like do this like
you
tour
get
of
the like
Akihabara in particular.
Numazu goods at one point.
Yeah. It was very funny. Just a
Some
sign like, hey,
Mikan juice.
go to Numazu. It's like, oh, interesting.
Interesting.
They also go to the famous shrine where Nozomi worked and everything, and also where
No
like
flips are done.
Aqua goes to in Sunshine. So like very important place in the series of Love Live. So they visit that as well. They visit some like food places here and there as well. Like there's a scene at one point where it's just like, here's a crossroads and here's a Yoshinoya on the corner of one. It's like, oh, okay, sweet. Yeah, and essentially each group goes and just does like various places to go to, eats food and all that sort of stuff, has fun.
There's a boat.
Yeah, Launchu's group goes on a boat, just cruises
eats
around.
Sushi boat.
Yeah, eats a boat on a boat.
Yep.
Just doing that sort of thing. They go to a maid cafe at one point because that's just what you do.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she gets the tour of the area and everything, and then they also have her like participate in practices and all that sort of stuff. And this is kind of where they bring up more of the Shioriko stuff, because we see this scene with her and Ayumi, which I thought was good because in All Stars they established this fact of like Ayumi and Shioriko becoming pals throughout the various seasons of that story. And it's a real fun friendship because like it's something that initially you wouldn't have expected with how they create Shioriko in that story, and then by the time you get to the end it's like it makes perfect sense and everything. So I like that they are able to do that with these two characters in particular. So they have this conversation in front of the steps where Setsuna has her performance in the first episode, and also, of course, where famously the Unicorn Gundam is.
Yep.
Just hanging out, of course.
Just chilling there.
Yeah, and Shiriko's kind of like just talking to Ayumi about things and just being like, yeah, I feel real weird about like my school idol stuff because like, I feel like I'm like, being rigid and like too serious, and like especially when I was doing the last performance and everything, like the fans had this weird reaction to the call and response and all that sort of stuff, and I just don't know how to like figure out what I need to do or anything. And I'm just kind of like, nah, you're fine, like that's just your thing. You're the more serious member of this group. It's fine. Like no one's gonna like hold that against you or anything. It's cool.
You be you.
Yeah. And she like talks about how like she's like, I don't know if I really want to do this anymore. And I was like, nah, you're fine. Don't worry about it. You're good. Don't worry. It's all good. You gotta have important conversations in front of a Gundam. That's the main point here, of course.
I mean, that's right here.
Mm-hmm. Isla does a performance with all the gals of Niji, which they don't do like a song for or anything, which I thought was interesting because I thought they would do something with her.
I thought so too.
Considering they're making this whole deal of having her come over and everything, it's just like, nah, here's a montage of performance stuff and all that.
Yep.
Shrug shoulders.
Shrug shoulders.
And then it basically just like, because this is supposed to be like a 2-week thing, I think, and then it immediately cuts to like, oh, she's leaving.
Yep.
Gotta go. We get the scene of Shiriko speaking English.
Yeah, Shiriko speaking English.
And I was just like, huh? What's going on here?
She definitely didn't know what
no idea. Bowie P was just probably like, okay, I'll say these words. I have no idea what they mean or anything.
Shu, can you explain this to me?
Yeah,
Thank you.
please explain what these mean. Because she figures out something's wrong with Isla as she's leaving and everything, and kind of relays it to the other girls. And she has a conversation with her before she decides to leave and everything. It's like, Shiriko talking to Isla is like, yeah, you're thinking of quitting being a school idol, right? And Isla's like, yeah, like, because we don't do club things like they do here in Japan, so like we can't have a school idol club at my school and everything, and like I have my friend who's supporting me in all of this, but like the resources aren't there for me to really be able to do this properly, so like there's no reason for me, I guess, to continue this. So like once I go back, I'm gonna finish up and everything. And Shiriko was even like, yeah, I called your school to see if like, hey, you could stay here as like a exchange student type deal, and they were just like,
It's wild that Shiriko's just like, I'm gonna call your school.
Yeah, let's call your school up. I have unlimited long distance calls, international calls.
International calls.
It's fine. Nijigasaki will pay for it. It's cool. I use the school line.
Oh my god.
And she kind of relates this problem to like when her sister Karuko was like quitting being a school idol, and like how much that like affected her, and like she doesn't want to see that happen again to someone, and like is trying to help her find a way to not quit being an idol and everything. And then we get like the rest of the girls coming out and everything, and we get this scene with like all of them where they kind of like go around and show like a history of Nijigasaki to Isla, essentially, to like show like how they've had their issues and like how they've had their problems and overcome them and everything. Where like they show again the steps where Setsuna had her performance on the first episode, and like they have like the original Nijigasaki school idol members talk about like hey, we had this issue and we had to like figure out exactly how to get over it and like come back together as a group. And we get some good dunking between Setsuna and Kasumi, which was very funny.
Yep. Yeah, that was good.
So I thought that was a cool thing to put in there, and like they kind of like then bring like everyone else and talk about how they've all come together and everything, and how they enjoy what they do, and how they hope Isla is able to like continue that, and like her friend probably also wants her to be able to continue it as well, and all that sort of stuff.
She has that support.
She has that support, yeah, of course. And then Shiriko's like, yeah, I'm going to get confidence now. And here, I'm going to put my hair in a ponytail and we're going to perform a song.
Ponytail Shiriko.
It's very good. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
We get a big performance of a new song called Go Our Way. This is very
This performance is going to rule when they do it live.
Yes.
It's going to be so good.
I do like how Nijigasaki is getting all these like bombastic songs.
Mm-hmm.
that just look like they're going to be like incredibly fun to see live. So
Yeah. I
that's
also can't wait to
very
see these
good.
outfits live.
Yeah,
I hope that they do it.
that'll be very fun.
It was a really good song.
Hmm. So they finish that up, and then basically they see off Isla to the airport, and she goes on her plane and goes, and then they all go get food, and Shiriko's like, oh yeah, by the way, we all got to write apology notes.
Yep.
And they're like, what? And then Lonju also has to write another apology note
Because of the boat.
because she took a boat during school time and she still hasn't written the one.
So she has to write
She
two.
has to write two. Lonju's
No.
like, what do you mean? What do I have to write two for?
Poor Laju.
We get like a montage of like wrapping things up with the first ending song of Singing Dreaming Now. And then right before we get like credits, we see
Like an
the
envelope
gals.
thing.
No, we see the gals in the club room, and there's a video of Isla
Oh, right.
back in London, and she's talking about like resuming her idol activities and everything, and they're all very excited about that. Also, her friend Penelope is just like gothic Lolita London girl.
Yeah.
This is very interesting.
Yeah. She reminds me of one of the R card or N cards.
Yeah, she would have fit. Like I think those girls show up at some point in EG, right?
They did, yeah.
She would have fit in really well with them.
Yeah, she definitely would have.
It was interesting as well that they made them speak English the whole time when like those are definitely Japanese voice actresses.
Oh, yeah.
So interesting little thing there.
It
But
is interesting.
yeah, we see that happen, and then at the end there's like a envelope, which is very interesting, and it had like School Idol GTX.
That sounds right.
I'm gonna look it up real quick just so we can see for sure. But yeah, it's like a little teaser of something to come. Because we do have they're making movies. I don't know specifically like what those all entail. If like they're like some of them are just anime recap. I think some of them are anime recap, and then maybe the last one's a new story. I feel like I'm not 100% sure. Like I feel like the messaging on it has been very weird, and I don't quite understand it. But I guess we'll figure all that stuff out like next year when those start coming out and everything. So
I mean, it's definitely a teaser for something.
yeah, like they wouldn't put that in there if it was nothing.
Yeah.
Let me find this real quick if I can.
As a side note, while you're looking, they also had Monster Girls energy drink.
Yeah, that was real funny.
It was real good. You brought it up, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, that was really funny.
That's a good touch.
Real goofy. Let's see here. Credits are ending.
GPX.
Yeah, so like there's a scene at the after post credits where they're in the club room. Hanpan's there, just chilling on a desk. The whiteboard says next to ...
Mm-hmm.
And then it zooms in on this piece of parchment paper or something, like a little like a business card looking thing, and it says School Idol GPX. And then that's how it ends. Fade to black. So interesting.
And then we
School
get
Idol
the
Grand
second
Prix.
credit. Grand Prix.
No, that's the end of the second credit. But the second credit is we get Wah 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 What's Up as a song. And they do a cool thing where like they were like, hey, we asked you for like, what are your dreams and everything, and like they put in like all these little fan things of like, here's our dreams and everything. And I thought that was a really cool little touch, like, because this series obviously is very big on fan interaction and using fan stuff in the series. So I thought that was a really cool, neat thing to put in there as well.
Yeah, it was cute. It was really cute.
School Idol Grand Prix, GPX Grand Prix. I feel like that's what the Grand Prix would probably be, or GPX would probably be.
I think so. That makes sense.
So what does that entail?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah. Welcome to the Love Live Nijigasaki High School Idol Club tournament arc.
Yay!
I mean, I would be down for that.
Unicorn Gundam's gonna participate.
Yeah. So that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. This episode flew by. It was just like very quick.
Hmm.
Pacing wise, it was kind of weird because it kind of just like boom, it was zooming through.
Yeah.
Um, and like the Isla stuff is kind of just shows up and is there. Like it's kind of not as fleshed out as you would want. It's probably just because like it's a shorter runtime, so you're not able to really do as much as you probably could. But
Right.
I don't know if there's really much there to really drag out per se because it's a story that you kind of can just wrap up in this singular episode essentially.
Hmm.
So, but I did enjoy it. I like seeing these gals back and their random antics and everything, and also getting a more Shioriko focused episode was a very nice surprise.
Yeah, that was exciting. And
Yeah,
ponytail Shioriko.
yeah, big ups to that.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. What did you think?
I mean, I thought it was fun. I felt like you said, that it could have. I think if it had been like 45 minutes to an hour, they could have done a lot more with it.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, it was interesting that it ended up being more Shioriko focused than it ended up being like, hey, here's this British exchange student.
mm-hmm.
Or even like IMU focused because she's the one who went overseas and she
Yeah,
kind of takes a back seat to everything.
yeah. It's interesting.
So it is interesting, but there were some good moments, some good little things in there that I appreciated. The songs were bangers.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you know, not bad. I'll take it. Interested to see what happens now.
Yeah, I think that teaser is the most interesting thing out of this for sure.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
For sure. Let's talk about some trivia real quick before we wrap up.
I'm sure the Monster Girls energy drink will be on there.
It's not.
What the heck?
I know. It's very, very disappointing. Like we said earlier, this OVA marks Koko Hayashi's debut as Setsuna Yuki. And we talk about this also as well. And Isla and Company's tour to Akihabara. Their visited locations include the UTX High School and the Kanda Shrine from School Idol Project. When the group goes to Shabara to buy food, the Nopo Pon and the Jutaro Mandarin orange drink can be seen, which those are both, I think, like the Nopon Pon has been a sponsor of Love Live for a while. And then the
Hmm.
Mandarin Orange, I think, is a specific Sunshine sponsor because, like, they see that. And there's also, like we said earlier, the poster where it's just like, hey, visit New Mazu. Again, very funny.
Hmm.
A Kotori
Very
Minami
funny.
lookalike can be seen at the Maid Cafe's giant poster. I feel like they were kind of implying this was the Maid Cafe Kotori worked at.
Yeah, that was the vibe that
Mm-hmm.
I was getting.
I mean, I'm sure it's an actual like Maid Cafe in Akihabara because they were definitely using a lot of actual places there for sure.
Right, right.
But I feel like that's kind of like the vibe they were probably trying to go for.
Hmm.
Uh, and then, barring their off-screen act in the previous episode, the finale of season 2, Rebirth makes their first on-screen performance in this episode.
Yay.
Which is very good.
Good for them.
But
Very
yeah,
proud of them.
I guess we will eventually see what's next with Nijigasaki next year or whenever. I guess I don't know exactly the release order of these movies coming out and everything. I know they're coming. I think they're next year, but I don't know. I don't think they've said dates or anything like that. So we will figure all that stuff out at some point down the road and reconvene with the gals from Nijigasaki.
When's their next live? They might announce something then.
6 Live?
God, are they already on 6?
Yeah.
Wow.
They haven't really done one in a while though.
No, they haven't. I mean, like it's been a minute, but
Yeah.
just 6 doesn't feel real.
I mean, they've been going at it. They've been around for 6 years now.
Several years, yeah.
So, I mean, they've been doing like the fan meeting stuff
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
currently. So they have been doing something, but yeah, I think 6 Live is later this year.
We'll get to see the new outfits live, hopefully.
We'll see those. We'll see the new single outfits.
That's what I meant was the new single outfits.
Right. Apparently, it is 6 Live is December 23rd and 24th and January 13th.
Weird times, but okay. Spend your romantic Christmas holiday with Nijigasaki.
I mean, that sounds like a good time.
I mean, honestly, yeah. Sounds like a real good time. Then you get fried chicken afterwards. Yeah. Num 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 num. January 13th is my cousin's birthday.
Well, there they go. They can go see Niji live.
I mean, she has a better chance than I do because she's in Australia instead of
There you go.
here.
But yeah, that is the Nijigasaki OVA Next Sky.
It was fun.
That was a fun time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We'll talk more about this group whenever those movies come out.
Yep.
So there's all of that. But that's gonna do it for this week's episode. A little bit of a shorter episode, but that's fine.
That's fine.
Shorter episodes are good. So if you'd like more from us, head on over to seasonalanimecheckup.com or sac.cool is where you can find past episodes of this podcast and other podcasts like Jared Now Watch, where you might have listened to this podcast on there. Who knows? Mm-hmm. Probably, maybe, I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Who knows?
You also find columns and reviews on the site as well. If you'd like more from Anladium, go to anladium.com. She's got columns and reviews. You can follow us on Twitter and TikTok at Anime Checkup. You can buy our books, One Shiny Moment, a critical analysis of Love, Life, Sunshine, and Hot Tubs and Pac-Man on Amazon.com. And you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/SACOVA. Buy us a slice of pizza, get access to unedited versions of the podcast early, and a whole wealth of bonus content as well. Mm-hmm. Next week, I probably will have finished this game by then, so I guess we will have time to talk about the 10th Legend of Heroes Trails game.
Yay! Reverie!
Yes, Trails into Reverie. And we'll find out what's all happening with our good pals Reen, Lloyd, and C?
C?
Who could that be?
Who could it be?
We'll find out next week, I suppose.
Oh, and a gaggle of children.
A gaggle of children.
Yep.